slides that I'm going to show you, we've kind of covered already, so some of the points I'm going to show you, so I'm going to rattle through them quite quickly. For my sins, I am still a principal teacher of geography. We're not extinct yet. There's very few authorities in Scotland who still haven't moved to the faculty model. Thankfully, ours at the moment hasn't gone down that line. I meant to put my email address up. If you want to speak to me, just come and ask me, and I'm more than happy to get into sort of any dialogue you want. How are we doing? Some of these things that I said we've already done. So a health check on geography in secondary schools. 50% downturn, particularly the kids in fourth year. If you look at SCQF level 5, back in 2010 that was both standard grade and intermediate 2. So we've got a narrowing curriculum, we all know about that. What does that mean? Well, less teachers needed, so we know that we're down about 100 geography teachers, 75 geography teachers since the turn of the last decade. As well as the attainment gap which the government is pushing schools to try and close, fix, whatever you want to call it. There's also an attainment gap between subjects. Some subjects do better than geography. And if you look at the quintiles of success over the last decade or so, we generally fall in the bottom decile for fails, i.e. lots of kids fail or get a D. And we're in the lower quintiles for A passes. COVID has kind of masked it. It's quite unclear how it's going to pan out after COVID. So the last couple of years, obviously since teachers were marking it, there's no real clear patterns and attainment has gone up. And obviously the SQA wants to bring attainment back down to fit its narrative. Mark Priestley this morning, on his recorded film, said about, we need to go down this kind of integrated route. I think that's the worst thing that could happen for geography, because as soon as you let someone else teach the subject, what happens is that they're not taught very well because they're not trained properly, they don't get the CLPL to do it, and what then happens is it reinforces a decline in uptake. So I would be against any changes, and it's dressed up as IDL, but we all know what happens in secondary schools. It's a timetable inconvenience. You put a body in front of a class, and that's been the driving force about saving money in the last decade or so. Curriculum issues, again, I'll touch on that in a wee bit more detail when I need to. So we need to refresh our curriculum. We're doing the same stuff I did when I sat my higher in my O grade back in 1989 and 1990. So what can we do about it? What needs to change? Well, firstly, our curriculum has to change. I've heard the rhetoric this morning, it's a 10-year fix. If you give me control, or you give someone else control, or give geography teachers the control of the curriculum, we'll fix it in 2 years. We're the experts, we know how to do it, we know what needs to come in, we know what needs to come out. If you give control over to the people who are actually delivering the curriculum, we will fix it. Whether we get the civil servants to agree on that or the government ministers, it might not fit their narrative. We've already started looking as a wee group within SAGIT about what we do at National 5. What should be in, what should be out. We're pretty much governed by inflexibility. Too much focus on map work, too much focus on physical features. We've got a rigid structure, physical, human, global issues. Doesn't allow teachers to make the connections that are vital to our subject. We need to get rid of this model. This is human geography, this is physical geography, where you've got land use conflicts in the physical because that's where we can squeeze it in. 35% of our National 5 exam is based on Northern Survey map skills. I love teaching map work, but please don't make it 35% of the exam. Sustainability. I had a look this morning before I left the house. I wanted to check how many times is the word sustainability mentioned in our National 5 or our higher arrangements. 90 odd pages, 4 times, nowhere near the mandatory content. We're missing a trick here. Things like fast fashion, ocean pollution, plastics, all this should be at the heart of what we do going forward, because we're concentrating on the irrelevant stuff and not the stuff that the pupils can see all round about them. We've heard about climate change. It's probably in the sheets we put in this morning about it has to be mandatory. It's the biggest single issue facing humans on the planet, and it's not mandatory, and it's ridiculous. We also need to do better links with our primary and our senior educational colleagues. At the moment, primaries do what they want to do. Usually it's World War II. Very little geography in there. If it is geography, it's not called geography, it's environmental stuff. And our university colleagues, they do what they do, and there's no joined up approach to it. So we really need to start, crossing that divide and having a bit of a chat. But what do you want pupils who come in to do geography post-school? What do we want them to achieve? What do you want them to have? What skills do you want them to have? There's also opportunities, as mentioned this morning. Again, we've got the opportunity to do some NPAs. The geology one's the obvious one. The stuff's there, but the SQA won't sign it off. And it's because of the cost of it. So if we want to move to a more modern, flexible curriculum, then there has to be some push for change, and it has to come from us. And also, other things we need to do, we need to get kids outside more. And even if it's in the school grounds, and we're looking at ways in which we can promote fieldwork as an organisation. What can we do? Simple things that you could do to get them outside. Because that's our point of difference from history and modern studies. And the vast majority enjoy doing it. So we need to refresh our curriculum. Elephant in the room. Our friends in the Optima building in Glasgow and at Dalkeith. And I just can't understand how an organisation has got so much control over the senior phase of the secondary curriculum. So the SQA really needs to be reformed. And if the government doesn't reform it, it's a dereliction of duty. They're too big, they're too powerful, they don't listen, you can't get anything going through them. We're supposed to have, or they've agreed to have a chat with us in the spring and the autumn, and we haven't yet met with them from last year, from last autumn, because they're too busy. The subject manager will not meet with us because with 800 teachers that she delivers a subject for because she's too busy. Well, what's she too busy doing? Surely that should be our number one function, to talk to the people who are delivering our courses. So that's the inherent structure you're up against with us. This is why it needs reform. So they need to have their power and procedures reduced. We need to have more dialogue with them. We need to be able to influence them more often. We need to be able to take control of our curriculum. And dialogue is not putting the head teacher of Jordan Hill on a management board and saying that's teachers represented. There's no teachers represented. We don't have any in to get them to move. So we've heard that already today. Curriculum should drive the assessments. Final exam needs to be downgraded. Assignments, 70% of our cohort, SAGIT members said, not fit for purpose, we need to do something about that. Promote fieldwork, yes, but review the assignment process. And we need transparency, and we need anonymity for anyone who's sitting the exam. Name of school should not be on it. The last thing here, very, very briefly, these are the structural things that we perhaps can't change quite as easily, but these things also need to change. The senior phase, junior phase model has to change. The lack of support for teachers, the lack of advisors, it's all QIOs and QIMs now. The lack of support from Education Scotland, 365 schools, all writing their own syllabus, which is an absolute nonsense. The two-term dash. So we all know about these things. And buying tri-course delivery, it doesn't work. You can't raise attainment when you do it. So these are the issues we've got to encounter. We can fix some of them if we're prepared to get our hands dirty. Thank you.
Thank you.